Hey guys, and welcome to my review of the Flash Season 3 soundtrack. Now, I aim to do all four of the soundtracks that were released this week, namely Arrow Season 5, The Flash Season 3, Supergirl Season 2, and Legends of Tomorrow Season 2. I aim to get through them over the course of the next few days, so you should see those popping up on my channel pretty soon. So, it took me a little while actually to do these reviews, because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to say, particularly about The Flash Season 3, which, to be honest, I found a little bit disappointing, as did a lot of other people. Mainly because the album itself contains a lot of music that you wouldn't really want on the soundtrack, namely filler music and bits like that, and crucially, it misses out a lot of the good music from Season 3, which is really disappointing. A good example of that would be, if you watch The Flash, I think it's episode 21, when Barry loses his memories, and then Iris inspires him with a speech, blah blah blah. But then when he gains his memories back, there's a really, really awesome sequence of music that I was desperate to listen to on the soundtrack, and it's just not there. And I was very disappointed by that. There was also a lot of other music, namely Savitar music, and a few other bits and pieces like the Kid Flash theme, that's just not on the score, and it seems like a major missed opportunity. So, I and a lot of other people were very disappointed with that. But I'm going to look past that for now, and I'll get stuck into what is actually on the score, rather than what isn't. So, the first track on the score is Rival Attacks Kid Flash. So, I think that's probably in the Flashpoint universe, where Rival and Kid Flash are having their fight in the premiere episode of Flash Season 3. It's a very good piece of music, it's very action-y, and a decent piece of music to start off the score with, which is nice. We've then got the next one called Asking Him to Kill. I think that's the bit where Flash goes to ask Reverse Flash to erase Flashpoint and kill his mother. So now we're getting callbacks to the finale music to Season 2, which is good. That links up quite nicely with that. And it feels like a sequel to Season 2. Which is decent, so you can listen to them all as a flow. And then we've got Showdown at the Sawmill, which is a Rival fight, I believe, because you've got elements of Rival and Kid Flash's themes in there. Those are very decent, and I like that one. So then the next good ones are probably Jumpstart Your Powers, which is track 5, and Training Jesse, which is track 6. You've got a lot of Jesse's theme and Kid Flash's theme in there, and they're quite action-y cues and quite fun as well, so I liked them. And then skip a couple, to be honest, because the rest of them are kind of fillery music. We get to track 10, which is Confronting Alchemy. And this is the episode 6 or 7, I can't remember. Flash Season 3 was kind of forgettable. But yeah, this is the bit where he's fighting Alchemy and then subsequently Savitar. So you hear a bit of Alchemy's theme, and then obviously Savitar's theme when they fight for the first time. Then we get up to what I think is the best music on all four of the soundtracks released, and that's the Invasion crossover music. It's a lot of crossing over of everybody's main themes, such as, the Legends theme and Supergirl's theme, Arrow and Flash's. And the crossing over is very, very good and works very well, and that's the main reason why I think it's some of the best music on the scores this year. And then we get into the Flash travels to the future and sees Iris die. So we have a lot of emotional music in the next 3 tracks, which is Watching Iris Die, I Ran to the Future, and Barry Tells Iris Her Fate, tracks 13, 14 and 15. Those are very nice and some very emotional cues there, as well as the return of the Barry Iris theme, which is nice. I've always liked that one. And then we get to probably one of the, if not the best cue on the score, definitely the best action cue on the score, which is Attack on Gorilla City. Now, if there's one thing I am disappointed with this year with the Arrowverse soundtracks, It's the lack of a fantastic, standout action cue. Like with the Flash Season 1, you had Reveal to Iris, which is where he runs around and goes back in time for the first time. That is, one of the best action cues the Flash has ever had, and is absolutely fantastic. Flash Season 2, we had quite a few actually. We had Stuck in the Speed Force, and we had the ending cue where he fights Zoom. There were a lot of good ones in the Flash Season 2, and there just isn't really a standout one in the Flash Season 3. The closest thing to it, I'd say, is the one I'm talking about here, track 17, Attack on Gorilla City. It's very good, but it's just not as good as the rest. And it's even more annoying when you consider that probably the best action cue this season was the memory loss one, which, as I mentioned before, we haven't got on this soundtrack, and it was definitely one of the best cues in the season. I'm very annoyed that it's not on the score. So looking past that, we then get to, I'd say this is probably the best cue on the score. The Wrath of Savitar. Nope, I'm wrong. That's the other one. There's so many cues on the soundtrack with the word Savitar and you get mixed up. Now, the Wrath of Savitar is a very Savitar theme heavy track where he basically beats the crap out of the Flash and everybody else. The track I'm talking about is the real Savitar, which is track 24. This is the best cue on the score. So it's the cue that pretty much everyone's been waiting for, where Savitar is revealed to be future Barry. Or a Time Remnant of Barry. That was all very confusing. It's part of the reason why I'm not massively fond of the Flash Season 3. Still not entirely clear on what the hell Savitar even was. But yeah, the plot of the Flash Season 3 aside, it is a very, very good cue, and definitely one of the, if not the best, on the soundtrack. And then, tragically, we skip over a number of good episodes, like the Future Flash episode, and the Memory Loss episode, and we go straight to the finale, which I personally think was a bad decision. But I'll get to that. And then we get to Infantino Street, which is the cue where they try to save Iris and stop her from being killed by Savitar. And they obviously fail. So it's a very emotional theme, and a bit of action in there, which is decent. And then we get on to the last episode, where it's revealed that HR trades places with... I hope you guys have watched the Flash Season 3, because I have just realised I'm spoiling it quite a lot. Although, to be honest, if you haven't watched it, I wouldn't watch it. It's not very good. The music is good. The actual show, not so much. But this isn't a review for the show. But yeah, so we've got traded places there where it's revealed that HR dies instead of Iris. It's quite a good cue. There's a lot of emotion in there, and I personally enjoyed it. And then the final track of the season, which is Barry's Sacrifice. A cue which I personally don't think deserves to be on the score. It's just a rehash of Stuck in the Speed Force from Season 2, and it's a good 4-minute cue that uses up a lot of, I know Blake Neely's only got like 80 minutes to work with these soundtracks, and this uses up 4 of them, and it's just a rehash of an old track. Like, I can think of so many other 4-minute cues, cough cough, the Memory Game fucking track, that could have been there instead of it. But this is just a rehash of that track. This is one of the ones that really annoys me. Right, so that's the end of the specific track review, so I'm now going to look at the whole score. So prepare for a bit of a rant, because I'm not very happy with it. There is, for some reason, Blake Neely focuses a lot on the episodes that didn't have very good music, and either doesn't focus or skips over entirely the episodes that have good music. This soundtrack, and it's weird because he doesn't normally do this. Like the Flash Season 1 and the Flash Season 2, he had all the tracks that everybody wanted. This year he just hasn't. He seems to have skipped over a lot of the good ones, namely the Future Flash episode, the Memory Loss episode, and There's a few bits from the Invasion crossover that aren't there. There's a lot of Savitar music that's not there, which is annoying because Savitar's got quite a good theme. That's disappointing as well. And yet he focuses on Jesse and Kid Flash, which are, they're good teams in themselves, but they're not as good as the ones that we want. And there's like an entire 2-3 minute track dedicated to HR, which is like, it's just filler. It's just not very good. There's nothing memorable about it. And it's just, yeah. There's like 4 tracks from the Gorilla Grodd 2-parter that aren't really needed. And yeah, there's also Abracadabra and Killer Frost tracks, which this is just my opinion. Maybe you guys love the Abracadabra and Killer Frost themes, but I really don't. And I think they could easily have been replaced with something far better. And I really don't like how he basically goes all the way through the episodes, so about episodes 18 and 19, and then proceeds to skip episodes 20 to 22, which have the best music on the fucking season. The best music of the season was in episodes 20 to 22, and he just skips over them completely and goes straight to the finale. It's so disappointing. Because it could have been such a good soundtrack, and for some reason he just skips over them. Maybe there's a reason for it. I don't know. Maybe the Killer Frost and HR themes were more sought after than the really awesome action cues that the Flash is known for. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Blake Neely, see if he replies on Twitter. But I was disappointed with the soundtrack because I felt it could have been a lot better. And there's also a lot of unreleased music now that wasn't on the score, and for the life of me, I don't know why. Because there's just a lot of filler there instead of it. Especially Barry's Sacrifice, the last track. Come on. I mean, I know why it's there, because it's the finale track, and you've got to have the ending track for the soundtrack to wrap it up. But it's just a 4-minute rehash. It's like they changed the pitch a little bit. That's it. It's a 4-minute rehash of Stuck in the Speed Force from Season 2. We don't need this 4-minute track. If you're stuck for time, you've only got 80 minutes. You're Blake Neely, you've only got 80 minutes. Don't fill 4 of them with a rehash from last season. So much could have gone there. Anyway, rant over. So, to sum up, it is a good soundtrack and there is a lot of good music on there. It's just disappointing because there could have been a lot more good music on there. And if that music had been on there, it would have been a perfect soundtrack. And maybe even would have been up for Score of the Year, for me anyway. So, it's a bit disappointing, but there are a lot of good tracks, like The Real Savitar and Attack on Gorilla City, and a lot of the Flashpoint stuff at the beginning. So overall, I give this soundtrack a 6.5 out of 10. It's a good score, that has some good tracks, but it is let down by the absence of the best cues of the season. Bloody hell, this review's been 12 minutes long. So thanks guys for watching. The Arrow and Supergirl and Legends soundtrack reviews are going to follow shortly. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.